We had something last night, was just like a phenomenon thing happen where I was beginning to close the service, close, as I will in a few minutes, close out. And I said, maybe some of you need to come and sit in this chair. It was almost theoretical, I said, maybe some of you need to come to Christ. Like you've been doing the religion thing and you grew up Catholic or whatever it is. You fill the blank in. Mormon, Catholic, whatever. But it was religion. It was because your parents told you. And maybe it's time to just stop treadmill existence and get on the chair and rest. So I'm going through this whole thing. I start to pray. This gal pops out of her seat at one of our Saturday services and kind of bolts to the stage. And I'm like, okay. And honestly, I'm like, because these are times when God moves and I'm like, okay. And I just picked my Bible up, my stuff up, and I said, all right, well. And she sat down. And I led her to Christ. Like she sat down and I said, how can I pray for you? It was one of those like, okay, how can I pray for you, And everybody was sitting there and she prayed to receive Jesus Christ. She came and just stepped on this stage and said, I said, how can I pray? She says, I don't want religion anymore. I want Jesus in my heart. Then I had another person come up and a whole family and bawling. And we lost our 4-month son 10 weeks ago. Our only son. Why'd God do that? Why did God take our son? Bawling. And then the dad comes up and the mom comes up and a sister. And I'm like, wow. It was like just heavy. But every person that came and sat. And I said, well, I guess this is what God wanted for the chair then. So I said, well, if anybody else wants to come up, there's like people lined up, every service. So in a moment, I'm going to give you a chance to just come and sit in the chair and just say to God, I'm done. I need grace. I need a fresh start. I want my marriage to be better. I have one husband, I said, maybe you need to sit in the chair together. He walks up. He starts sitting down. He's a really big guy. Honestly, he's like, picks his wife up like a rag doll, and sits down. And I'm like, how can I pray for you guys? I was scared he's going to pick me up and put me on top of the whole pile, But it was just amazing that people I want grace. And you know what I love most about that? That that's probably the riskiest thing. I didn't even start it. Really, we do a lot of things that are risky around here in community and stuff. We very much want our weekend to be experienced, but I didn't start it. God did. But every person that sat down, just like there was this relief and release of, oh, okay, I'm home. I'm home. I'm starting over. You see, for me and for you, the rest of grace means the work's done. Jesus sat down at the right hand of God, which is a euphemism for power. The mess of grace is, His grace is sufficient. It just is. And here's the last one. It's the test of grace. If the first two get inside you, this will be natural. So for some of you, you're like, yep, that's me. For others of you that you'll say, that's not me, it's because one of the first two chairs has not quite infected you the most. If grace doesn't get you, you won't be able to give grace. It's either always going to be grace or guilt. I'm going to be living by grace or guilt my whole life. If you're living in a paradigm of guilt, and it's not a chair, it's a walking around guilt, you will put guilt on everyone around you. But if you're infected by grace, you'll put grace on everyone around you. You'll just give grace because you know you don't deserve it, you know they don't. This last Thursday, Michelle and I had a fight. And mostly her fault. Just joking. She's not at this service, so I can say that. And what's funny about it is, it wasn't even a real big deal. You know those fights where you're like, what? Okay, before we keep fighting, what exactly are we fighting about? Rules of engagement. And it was really weird. But I knew that I needed to be with her, so I called the office, canceled everything I had going. I said, I'm heading to Portland to spend time with Michelle, which I did. On the way there, I realized I had an appointment with my grandfather who turns 85 today. And we were to go have a little kind of grandpa date night, if you will. And his favorite place to go is bingo. Now, amen for the clapping bingo people. I love you guys. Listen, bingo for me, now everyone has their own thing. For me, I'd rather watch a movie and just kind of go brain dead and just chill. Bingo to me is like watching my toenails grow, okay? And so it was just, but he loves bingo, so I want to go do what he wants to do. He's been looking forward to this appointment 2 weeks. I call him up on the way to McCormick and Schmidt's, downtown Portland, waterfront, and I'm like, Pop, I need to talk to you. He's like, what's up, John? And I'm excited about tonight, and I'm like, oh. And I said, I can't do it. He said, what's up? I said, Michelle and I are not doing good. I need to be with her. He's quiet. I'm waiting for don't we all wait for the riot act, kind of? Because that's what we would do, right? We would do the lecture thing. Well, don't you know you made this appointment? You need to be a man of your word. And all the things that I would say and you would say. He's crying. And I'm like, Pop, what's wrong? He says, you need to spend time with your wife. She's the only person that matters. And I'll be okay. Now, when you get grace the way I did, you are so taken back by grace that you give everything back to the person who gave you the grace. It's a magnet. I'm throwing the biggest party at my house today for my grandfather's 85th birthday. And he doesn't know about it. The other thing he loves is karaoke, so I rented a karaoke machine for him. Grace does that. You walked in here, some of you failed so bad last night or last week or last month. And God is saying, I don't care about it. I'm not interested in talking about how you failed. I'm interested in you and your heart. And everywhere you go, this chair will be here. And however you failed, the chair will still be there. And when you get done running, the chair will still be there. Because God is the God of chairs. And He's a God of grace. And this is your day. Don't wait. It's all you have is today. You need to sit in this chair.